Hey everyone, and welcome to another FogCutter Live. I'm here with Preston James, founder of Traders Edge Network. I'm Mike Curtis. We're coming at you on this holiday shortened week, but we still have a ton to cover like usual. Preston, so much news and headlines about the AI meltdown, valuation concerns. I know you have some things you want to talk about there. Just some broad market analysis we can discuss, but say hello and let's get rolling.
Yeah, Mike, good to be with you. We've got some important earnings announcements also this week. We're still in earnings season, even though some of the big names have come and gone. Nvidia's next week,
Mm.
but some compelling ones this week as well. And had a really fun. Well, you and me and Kyle and some people we trained. We were just in the Scottsdale area, and we wanted to flash a picture up on Saturday. You can't see it back there, but right behind, I'm right in the middle there on that crazy shirt. But we all met at Cartel Coffee, Mike. We thought that was a
Yep, fun stuff.
apropos coffee spot, of course, when we talk about the analyst cartel. But we had such a fun hangout. They're
Great
super
group.
bright, asked amazing questions. So I kind of wanted to share in this one with you a couple of things that we talked about that I think are super interesting and really center on a theme, Mike, during times when the market is like you just mentioned, this AI thing, how it spooked and scared software companies, but just the overall theme to be curious, to
Right.
ask questions, and to be alert. I mean, that's where the opportunities come, and maybe we can shine a light on some of that on this edition of the Fog Cutter.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we'll show a really interesting graphic because is the market is just dissecting any new technology, any new idea. Um, you say this a lot, Preston. The market likes to go to extremes. You never know how high it can go. You never know how low it can go. As something gets hot and there's excitement and energy around it, sometimes it gets overcooked, right? Sometimes it goes a little too high too fast. And then, some questions start to pop up, or, a company misses earnings, or they forecast the next quarter with a little less enthusiasm, and it can send these shock waves where now everyone starts to panic and then they overreact in the other direction,
Right.
right? Sometimes we see that overreaction as the selling kicks in. So maybe, Preston, do you want to start just throwing up that
Yeah.
graphic and talking through some of the
Yeah. And
AI
to
just
that,
news and headlines?
maybe we can show that 1 year chart of the IGV, which is a software index. And Mike, sometimes
Yes.
a double whammy can hit. And what I mean by this is here Wall Street has this quarterly rhythm. What have you done for us lately? Every
Right.
quarter you got to step up. You're announcing earnings. Well, we're probably in the bottom of the first or the top of the second inning of this whole AI build out, if you will, this revolution that's happening. And these
Right.
companies are spending just umpteen billions, but this payout is going to be some years down the road. Then you run into these quarterly earnings, and sometimes these stocks can get spooked. Like Wall Street's like, hey, maybe you're spending too much on that. We're
Right.
so you have this quarterly rhythm, but this multi-year thing. So that's one, and then just recently this other scare, this double whammy, if you will, of this outfit called Anthropic, and
Mm.
we're going to be going to New York to a conference in May where they're gonna be there. We might want to like overhear what they're saying to people, but this real scare of and you can see it in this. It's the IGV. This is a software index. The top 10 holdings of this ETF are Microsoft, Intuit, Palantir, Adobe, ServiceNow, Oracle,
Mhm.
APP, Crowd, and that's about 65% of this fund here. But Mike, really, I believe what this is in a long term sense is this is such a gift for anyone who has sat there and just watched something take off from you for multiple years, and you sit back and you're like, I missed it. I missed it. When can I ever get back in? I do think that AI is all that it is, but is it going to replace every single thing? I don't believe so. Adobe's a part of this too, where Adobe's at a 7-year low.
Mm.
But I think there's ultimate opportunity for this. But we just got through with the earnings season, and if you'd like flash up an Oracle, for example, and I don't know if you wanted to add anything on this part. I mean, look at this.
Right.
So wow, you just take a look at that. And Microsoft, the same thing. We were talking about that before we started, Mike. Microsoft, maybe not as severe, but no,
Right.
this isn't Slicksoft or Reliasoft. This is Microsoft, and these do not come around that often. And maybe we can also throw that graphic up of just the multi-year growth in
Yeah.
not just the revenues, but of the cloud. Maybe we can get some of that.
Yeah. And the word that comes to my brain is just indecision, right? Like when or uncertainty, really, right? The market hates uncertainty.
Very good
And
point.
when there's big question marks lingering, the typical reaction is sell first, ask questions later, right? The fear emotion is so powerful in the financial markets. So, they don't want to be stuck holding a position that had some profit and turned into a losing trade. They don't want to be stuck holding a position that had a horrible year, horrible quarter. So that reaction of, oh, let's just dump this thing. Some questions are starting to arise. Some uncertainty is there. Let's sell first and we'll ask questions later. And I think you're seeing a lot of that reaction in some of those charts.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Plus, Wall Street wants that tangible. They want the earnings. They
Yes.
want it now. And what we're looking at here is, and this is just revenue from AI cloud products and services. But
Mhm.
look at what a baby really. We just finished at 2025, but 2026 just Microsoft's got the main part, but Oracle's little slice of that, and then CoreWeave. These CoreWeave and Nebius, these are just newer companies on the block. But look how this segment right here of revenue is projected to grow. And then this short-term conundrum that we're in, maybe the double whammy of the Anthropic scare and then all the AI spending, and we see it. Oracle and Microsoft are just been beaten to a pulp. But look what's coming. This is being curious and saying, well, do I step in now? I mean, Oracle seemed to have turned some, but Microsoft, uh, maybe at this point in time, I'm extra interested in any type of surprise factor, Mike, any type of our setups that we lean on that point us to why this stock and why now, to do option strategies. But for long term, I can't see going wrong, getting long names like this. These are proven names that have been in the game for decades. And Mike, last I checked, Microsoft is utilizing AI in their products. I would think Oracle is onto that also,
Yep.
and some of these others. So it's not like they're immune. They're using the power and leverage of AI in their platforms.
Yep.
I just think it's
Absolutely.
a perfect storm.
No, and I think it's great you said be curious, always have your eyes peeking around looking for opportunities as an investor. That should hopefully just kind of be hardwired into your code. But anytime I see a stock like Microsoft, right, that my kids own in their accounts, right, and it's gone from 550 to 400 in a couple of months, right? It's given up $150. You want to be curious. So, Preston, let me ask you this, because like we said, you never know how low they can go. Is there a point where you just start picking this up? Or, my technical analysis background, I try to start looking for some sort of maybe reversal on that trend, that downtrend that a lot of these are in. Maybe a higher swing low, a higher swing high, some sort of little reversal pattern that might give me a clue. And then at that point, it's not all the chips to the middle of the table either. It can be, maybe some incremental purchases as we go along. But do you have any thoughts on that, kind of
Yeah,
when
I mean, you'd
you
mentioned
start
your
looking
your
for
kids,
those
and
opportunities?
you mentioned something about your kids, and if they were getting some babysitting money and they wanted to, meaning what time horizon do you have? I mean, for someone as old as like your kid's age, oh my gosh, like starting here and adding some as it's low here. If your
Mhm.
time horizon's out there, to me, it's a no brainer. But like
Yeah,
you said, that's a really good question as far as doing shorter term option strategies. We want to have a little more of an edge. And we've seen it happen again and again, Mike, over the years where you never know how high they can go. You never know how low they can go. And we don't know if Microsoft's slide is over or Oracle's. On a longer term basis, I mean, man, you'd have to look back. You'd probably feel like a horse's patoot if you didn't probably pull up some of it right now. But for shorter term strategies, I mean, I like other names, and we're in other names right now as far as MIT positions, Master Income Trader, which we just started. Shout out to the MITers out there. And for our Wow Insider, our Money Press trades. We don't have that edge right now, at least not yet, Mike.
for sure. Well, awesome. That's good stuff. That's some great perspective. I think as far as we're looking out to this week, Preston, to change gears, I know on the economic calendar front, Friday's our GDP. We've got PCE, another kind of consumer expenditures, inflation gauge that always makes some waves. Let me just peek at this again. Another big one is the Fed FOMC minutes gets released on Wednesday, and that hits during market hours. So that's 2:00 Eastern. And what people really pull from those minutes is it kind of goes behind the scenes of those FOMC meetings that happen every 6 weeks. And it shows, how many people were really against cuts and how many people were maybe for cut. And it can give you a little bit of clarity on what might be coming up at the next meeting. So a lot of times that's pretty scrutinized, and people dissect that quite a bit. We've got housing starts. So on top of some of the big earnings that you mentioned, we do have some economic announcements that can cause some volatility and continue the volatility is really what we should be saying. So anything on the earnings front, Preston, you want to highlight?
On earnings, we have one of the top online retailers in the world, Alibaba, announcing a top brick and mortar and online, I guess, in Walmart. Like the Cadillac, maybe you say Bentley these days, of gold miners in Newmont Mining, Mike, they announced this week. One of my favorite energy names is Devon Energy, DVN. One of the top home builders, Toll Brothers, they announced this week, Mike, and DoorDash. Even though we get some of this at the office, I have a love-hate with just having food summoned to your recliner. I think we evolved for too long going out and hunting food. So, but anyway, it's popular enough. That's announcing this week. And Mike, there was one I was about to enter into on Friday, especially for our MIT crowd. But the reason I didn't is because they announced earnings this week, but it's one of the most compelling energy players powering the data centers. It's Constellation Energy, CEG. It's Sports Weekly Options. It's got a dividend yield. It's had a real pullback as of late, maybe tied into some of this scare. And it had a big day on Friday. And it looks like look at that bounce that it's kind of having here. But I'll be very interested, like, to go back to your point, Mike. Hey, when do you get in these? Well, I'll be really interested and curious on what they announce, but more importantly, how the crowd is reacting to CEG's earnings. If we get what we call a surprise factor setup, which could happen this week, I could be pulling the trigger on CEG. And if it sets up right, man, this one's got some room to cover. One of the top players in data center powering right here, Constellation, one of my favorite names out there, and period.
Right. And as money has left some of the software names, some of the tech names, if we could throw XLE up on the screen, just the sector spider for energy, you can see the inflow. Money has just been flowing into the energy sector the last month and a half. So you can see this represents a lot of these energy companies, names, ConocoPhillips, Chevron are some of the big holdings in there, but money has just been flowing into energy, and you can see it on that chart. Just absolutely went bottle rocket here.
Wow.
So yeah, just another thing to keep in mind. That sector's been really hot.
That's great.
Well, awesome. Anything else, Preston, you want to highlight before we sign this one off? We got a fun story from Tom that we'll share with the folks. But anything else on?
Maybe one little extra color where the software names have really been pulled down. And to me, it's dragged a couple of other stocks with it that aren't necessarily software names. And one that I think is in a real sweet spot for like a gift with a bow on it, with the curly ends of the bow and the sprinkles and the glitter and the garland. It's all ready for a pushed over, Mike. Is Amazon. It's a Mag 7 stock. I think it's been pulled down through some muck, and it just has so many other revenue streams, especially the AWS. You just don't get opportunities that often in these type of names. And I just thought I'd mention this one.
Yeah, great stuff. Another good one to keep the eye on. So, well, I love it. Well, that's always great insight, Preston. Well, let's share this story from Tom. Again, we like to just leave a little bit of motivation with everyone. And this is a long one, so we'll paraphrase it a little bit. But all to say, Tom had been a member of Trader's Edge, trying a few of our different products and services. We just love to teach people how to generate another income stream, how to create an income from the stock market. So he's been a part of the Wow Insider. He's been part of the Mike's Mastermind project. And I loved it. He jumped back and he said, hey, I've been trading in this $98,000 IRA is up to 118,000 about a year later. So not some crazy return, right? I mean, 20%, that's what a lot of Wall Street would be spiking the football for. In our world, it's solid. It's super, super solid. But what I loved about Tom's story, and you can read the whole thing on the screen here if you want. So pause the video if you want to just go through it line by line. But he's just learning a skill. He's learning a life-changing skill of how to trade, how to generate income from the market. And Preston, when you founded Trader's Edge in 2003, I don't know if you really thought about the thousands and tens of thousands of investors you would be impacting over these last 23 years and counting. I loved that he's 77 years young, still taking on this endeavor, doing something, I assume, in retirement, keeping his brain sharp, staying active, still trying to grow some of these accounts. So, Tom, I was really impressed with your story. Thanks so much for sharing that. Love that you're sticking with it. Love that you're putting in the effort, you're investing in yourself, and then you're seeing the returns to go along with it. So love that, and you appreciate you sharing that story.
So many killer things about that, Mike. Just empowering yourself, staying active, learning, sharing it with us, Tom. That just means a ton. And we sure appreciate you being a friend and client of Trader's Edge. And let's go to a coffee. Where are you? Let's go to coffee next week.
Yeah. And the other thing, doing this for as long as I have, Preston, as long as you have, I've seen it a lot where people might, some people jump in and they get it. They spend a month or two and they're like, it clicks, options clicks. Some of the strategies click. Some people, it takes a little more time. Maybe they're not as savvy with the computer. Maybe they don't have any trading background. But usually once it clicks, that's when you start to see kind of that hockey stick in results. Maybe they're trudging along, just seeing a little bit of success, maybe some ups and downs. Then all of a sudden, just something starts to click. And we see people just really start to have some fun results. So, Tom, I'm hoping you're right there, ready to see that hockey stick explosion on the account. So, glad you stuck with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great visual. Yeah, maybe it's not so linear, but maybe some progress. But I agree. We see the hockey stick a lot. The lights come on, they come on bright.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, Preston. Always appreciate your time. Thanks, everyone else, for tuning in. Subscribe so you don't miss any one of these weekly FogCutter podcasts. You want to make sure you keep tapping in. We want to help you carve through all the noise and chaos and the fog out there. So appreciate you taking your time to tune in, and we will see everyone next week. Take care. Thanks, Preston.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.